Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 22nd audio file in the audiocast series known as the Q News Patriot. I am the Q News Patriot. My name is SGAnon. It is very good to be back with each of you. Things are progressing very rapidly. We are under the 6-day clock, as it were. For those out there that are a bit disappointed about Red October, I would admonish you to hold your disappointment just for a teensy tiny bit longer. We are only 2 days out from the conclusion of the month of October. There are big things in motion. There are a tremendous amount of impactful events occurring that occurred all through the month of October and are continuing to propel us towards the collision day that we could call the November midterm election, air quotes, for the United States. So for those of you out there who have been listening in for just a little while, I apologize for the stuffiness. Been getting over some stuff that my young one decided to share. They are such giving little spirits. Appreciate very much also the feedback from many of you, and I appreciate the criticisms and questions from many of you as well regarding appearing on other truther platforms. And please understand that there's always a reason that things are happening, and especially on my end, I promise each of you I won't do anything without having researched a bit to my knowledge and ability, and also understanding that there is a message that has to be conveyed. And so that being said, we're going to go ahead and get right to it for this evening. We have some really cool stuff to tell all of you this evening. I'm very excited for what's going on and what is about to blow the keg off, or the lid off the keg, excuse me, in the public eye. We have President 45 holding a rally tomorrow, and then 2 days later on Saturday, and then again on Sunday and Monday, leading towards the November 8th day. All signs are pointing towards November 8th as being a pivotal day in this entire operation. As many of you are no doubt aware, operational specifics can never be telegraphed, but simply from what we can find open source, one of the things that was relayed to me today, and then also just watching how things are unfolding, I believe that day is going to be very special. We're going to open today, or excuse me, tonight, with a little bit of a decode. We're going to talk about this comm from Dan Scavino. Went ahead and broke this down for you all earlier this afternoon, 5-6 hours ago. Dan Scavino, as many of you are aware, but let's actually let me back up. Let's just go ahead and talk about Dan Scavino for those of you maybe that haven't heard me talk about him before. Dan Scavino has known President 45 for nearly 30 years, has been a trusted advisor to the president, has been an assistant to the president, has been a manager of some of the president's properties. The two of them are very close. Dan Scavino is unequivocally and without doubt involved somewhere in the Q movement. Timestamps on Twitter from the Trump presidency days when Scavino would be sharing certain images, posts, etc., could tie back directly to Q drops that had not happened yet and some that had happened. The overlap in commonalities between Scavino's comms, some of the things that we can pick up from President 45, some of the things that you used to be able to pick up from President 45 through the tweets. It's mathematically and statistically impossible that Mr. Scavino is disconnected from that in some way. And so go over here. TruthSocial, as many of you are aware, I don't have a Twitter. I do have a Truth Social, and that's where I do all of my decodes from. We're going to come over here. Dan Scavino put up a video on TruthSocial, a very short clip, a 9-second clip, actually. And it appears to be the sun behind, like sun rays bursting through the clouds. The sun's behind a cloud front. The audio in this video is a song called Oceans by a group called Hillsong United. Hillsong United is an Australian, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check just to be sure, but I believe they're out of Australia. They're a very large Christian music group. Let's see here. Let's come over here. Pardon me just a moment. I just want to make sure that I've got this absolutely correct because this is going to tie into what I was told. Okay, Origin Group, Sydney, Australia. Yes, so they are based out of Australia. They are a mega church, a hub of human and child trafficking. They are an adrenochrome hub as well. The song that they released called Oceans talks about being led, following your spirit, walking upon the water, just as the story goes with St. Peter. More telling about this. We're going to come back to that in just a minute. Hold that pit, put a pin in that. More telling about this is when we cross-reference this particular post with the Q board. We use a timestamp of 212. What we find is an exact delta to the day and to the timestamp both. That is a mathematical, that's a coincidental impossibility. And so that particular post that Dan Scavino is tying directly to here is Q drop 51, post 51. Let me come over here. I'm going to read this for each of you. Q drop 51. Pardon me. I'm having a little bit of technical slowdown. Sometimes that happens. All right, drop 51. Exact same timestamp, exact same delta to the date, November the 2nd of 2017. Drop 51 reads, I've watched as society has been effectively addicted to MSM, apps, social media, games, music, all propaganda, and the moment you try to open anyone's eyes, you are shunned. Being dumbed down, weakened, and groomed for passivity, and stupidity through food and addictions, like calf literally being fattened for slaughter. And with all the race war propaganda and Pizzagate, I became suicidal because I can't stand that no one will open their eyes and are being manipulated hard. I hope with all of my heart that Trump is going to make good on his promise to MAGA and clean the swamp. I've been thinking about joining the Navy for Corman Greenside, and I would love to serve under a Trump administration if he really does clean swamp. We'll try to join regardless. No openings for Corman right now, though. I hope that what OP Anon says is true. I will be praying for OP Anon and all who risk their lives for safety and that the Lord will guide them, and praying that what he says is true, and we'll be praying for the spiritual edification for Trump and for his complete safety in all of this. The pieces are coming together for me, and if this is true, those working with him are absolute geniuses, because I would have never imagined there would be any way possible to take out the monster of corruption that has overtaken this country. Q then responds, Dear Patriot, we hear you. We hear all Americans such as yourself. The time has come to take back our great land. The time is now. Rest assured, POTUS is backed by the absolute finest people alive, who are all dedicated to the eradication of evil and corruption from the U.S. and the world. Find peace. God is with us. God bless and be safe. And this drop is not signed Q. This drop is signed the White Hats. It is literally signed the WH, the White Hats. Scavino is pointing us to this drop because as we approach this midterm election, this next 7-day period and then the next 30-day period following that are going to be some of the most eye-opening, some of the most world-changing days that you will ever live, both now and in the future. This drop is one of the only drops, and to my knowledge, it might be the only drop that is signed in this fashion, pointing us to this drop and then pointing us also to having faith and walking through the oceans, so to speak, with Scavino. This is huge. It doesn't get more obvious than this when we're referring to how the comms in this war have to happen. Now, another interesting thing, and this ties directly into a little bit of the intel that I'm going to pass on to you all tonight. The rumors that you've been hearing about a large-scale military operation in motion are true. There have been no less than 9 different militaries every single day for going on 2 weeks now, represented in the airspace above the United States. Additionally, United States aircraft, military aircraft, I've been able to track down on flight tracker radars in at least 6 other countries just within the last week. Several of them are running routes, could be reconnaissance, could be transport, logistical support, whatever it may be. I can confirm, however, to each of you that at least a portion of these ops are the mass arrests that you have been waiting for. They have begun. Reckoning is here. The reason that so many different militaries have been represented in the airspace above the United States is because this Q alliance has been monitoring, searching for, capturing, and or extraditing prisoners, enemy combatants against the peoples of the world over the United States and being brought back to the United States. The deep state criminals that are left within the continental borders, or excuse me, within the territorial borders of the United States of America are messing their pants. They are doing everything they can to get out. They are not going to get away. These operations are running 24 hours a day. These operations right now are following and hunting for every one of them. The U.S. Marine Corps has been working in conjunction with the National Guard to execute some of these arrests. Particularly in Southern California, there have been a number of operations to track down criminals against humanity, specifically organ trafficking. Those operations have yielded unholy I don't even know how to say it. They have been more effective than we really wanted them to be, almost, if I could say that. I know that that sounds crazy to say, but what some of our soldiers have had to endure and what some of them have now seen and beheld with their own eyes is grisly. It is absolutely macabre. Some of those operations in the United States along the California corridor, the West Coast, especially in the Southern California area along the port cities. And some of these soldiers will need therapy for years to come. But we are putting an end to it. We are actively moving into the phase now where the mass arrests become public. This coalition has been monitoring elections all throughout the world for the better part of 2.5 to 3 years. We know in the United States that they have been monitoring the elections for at least 10 years, maybe more. This plan to bring about a full-scale destruction, a full-scale implosion and eradication of the deep state, of the nefariousness around the world, the child trafficking, the human trafficking, the organ trafficking, the drug trafficking, the absolutely horrific medical experimentation that has gone on deep underground. And we are putting an end to it. And we have crossed we've crossed the line. We are at the stage. We're at the arrest stage. It is occurring. One of the fascinating things that I thought kind of supported a little bit of that, when I got that information, I went ahead and looked into some research myself. And 45 today referenced 2 times Letitia Peekaboo James and used the term peekaboo. Now, typically 45 just references this individual as the racist Attorney General Letitia James. For peekaboo to be in quotation marks and then used twice by the commander-in-chief in one day tells me that it's trying to tell us something. Well, interestingly enough, if you get on Google and you search peekaboo military term, what you find is a web page brought up from the U.S. Department of Defense website. And the web page references children. How to say this? The web page that you are taken to has a tiny little blurb with a photograph, and the photograph is titled Peekaboo. And the blurb states, soldiers are welcomed by their families and children after serving a 9-month rotation at, wait for it, Naval Station, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Mass arrests right there. And interestingly enough, these individuals are from the Wisconsin Army Military Police Detachment or National Guard Military Police Detachment. I believe it's the 32nd. 45 is telling us that arrests are happening in real time. I believe, this is just my opinion, this isn't a confirmed intel, but I believe personally that the reason we have so many rallies back to back to back to back is because beginning November the 8th, we won't be having these sorts of rallies anymore. We will be moving into a different phase. The rallies we'll be having after that will be completely different in nature. They'll have a completely different tone. They'll have much larger crowds, in my opinion. They're going to be seen as information opportunities, moments to gather real information about events that are occurring. We are so close. We are so close. I understand that many of you have been frustrated with, oh, Red October, another October, now it's gone. We're only 2 days into November. Red October provided phenomenal progress in the financial sector, phenomenal progress in the military sector. We began wholesale tunnel destruction operations in October that are still going on, but are mostly complete at this point. We have literally forced the deep state out from underground, and they are on the surface now in most areas, nearly all major areas. We have cut off their lifelines. These tunnels were how they've always escaped retribution in the past. These tunnels have how they've always been able to conduct this nefariousness that they have lived with and that they've forced upon the rest of the world. They've always been able to get away. There's always been safety for them down there, and we have taken that from them. There is no more safety underground. They are on our turf. and we know the land. I can assure each of you, the next 40 days, 30 to 40 days, are going to be world altering for you. You will look back and you will appreciate just how far you've come. We will all look back and appreciate how much it cost and how much this took. If I had been the one pulling the strings, I don't know that I would have gone about the entire plan in this fashion. But that was on patriots and heroes that had mantles chosen by the Almighty that were different than mine. It's not fair for me to sit here and hold them in condemnation when they have been playing on our behalf in many respects the highest stakes game that has ever been played. The future for our civilization and species was very much in the balance 6 years ago. They were more than 90% of the way complete on their extermination plans. We have been fighting a slow, silent, progressive battle. And we are now moving into the credits scene that each of you has been waiting for. I'm excited to tell all of you that mass arrests are underway. I do not know how long it'll take for this to come out. I wish that I knew the avenue in which it would come out, but I can assure you that it will come out. And when it does, those sleepers, family and loved ones that you hold so dear, friends that you want so badly to see the light, they will seek you out for the first time. And whether they give you that apology that you deserve or not, understand that shock can be a powerful teacher and an intense, humbling agent as well. That being said, everyone, we're going to go ahead and close off for the evening. It's been a phenomenal past few days, and it's only going to be more phenomenal. We are moving into an era of light and peace. I think if you're out there tonight and you're still up and awake and listening to this, it would be worth it for you to step outside, gaze up at the magnificence that is the firmament above you, pockmarked with stars, each emitting a specific energy, light energy and frequency, a resonance to heal the realm and to resonate with a portion of your being. You were designed by the Almighty to be in perfect balance with all that is. For the first time in mankind's history, when we go out and we look at the stars, we will all have a clear understanding of where we have been as people, as beings, and where we're going. Allow that to give you a measure of peace. Never before has all of humanity had the opportunity to stare up at the night sky in awe and gratitude, having the same understanding together. We win this because we are together. We win this because your love and desire to see your fellow man not only know the truth, but to accept the truth and then learn to operate and function within the new reality is so strong that you are willing to swallow some pride to do it. Each of you are commended. You should be commended. I appreciate and love all of you. And I hope to be back with you again very soon. Hold on tight. Pay attention to Trump's rallies. These are going to be important rallies and events. Watch for 11/4. Watch for dates. Things are ratcheting up, and we are on that collision course. And it's only going to get extremely exciting from here. Have a great evening, everyone, and stay safe. This is SGAnon. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.